Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? Everywhere, what's going on? It's hump day. It's Wednesday, day before Arkansas plays Illinois, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss Arkansas, Mizzou. Arkansas, is it decommitment season? Is it upon us? Is it coming early? Maybe later. We got a lot to talk about. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Got a couple things I wanted to point out. Someone tagged me on Twitter about a very interesting comparison, which I found fascinating. And yeah. We have a poll up, by the way. What is it? Hang on. I forgot. I made that poll forever ago. What's more likely to happen? Hogs beat Illinois by double digits, or just the Hogs beating Mizzou? And 83% of you right now, currently, those votes will climb. The total votes will climb. 83% of you believe that Arkansas is going to beat Illinois by double digits. I started to say 15 plus to get a little bit more specific. I'll tell you my thoughts on that game as well here in just a little bit. Hogs beating Mizzou currently at 23%. So again, that number will kind of flow. Let the feasting begin, says Bot Magnet. Yeah, first off, I hope you guys have had a great week. We did not do a post-game show. I had a number of people. Again, maybe I just didn't do a good enough job of clarifying. I was not planning on doing them. That's the first post-game show I've missed in a minute, and partly because I knew this week was already jam-packed. I hate missing those post games, but let's be real. Those are the least watched things right now as long as Arkansas is playing bad non-conference opponents. I might have another couple of games I don't do post games for. Just know, obviously, better the opponent, the more likely I am to do those. Now, listen, I haven't missed a post game for football or basketball. It's been a minute, right? But Arkansas did get a nice, comfortable win over Maryland Eastern Shore. Remember, I said just win by 25 or more, and I'll be happy. Because I get into this whole. I get why people get into this whole comparison thing, like, well, the so-and-so beat them by whatever. Guys, history tells us they just don't matter. I mean, this early in the season, beating someone by 5 or 50 just doesn't always matter. I'm not saying that it never matters, but it doesn't always matter. Happy they won the way they did, though. Everyone looked good. So maybe we'll cover that game as well, although I don't have all those numbers pulled up in front of me because I hadn't planned on talking about it. But this morning, that's what my text messages have been full of. Ty, you need to talk about this game. You need to talk about these performances. So maybe we'll throw that in there. But before we do, of course, shout out to Patreon supporters. There is a new Patreon video, a Ty video, as we call it in Discord, is up. It's about Tavion Wallace. And it's about just kind of what's going on with the portal and where we're at with the portal targets. And again, only Patreon supporters have access to those videos. Only they have access to the Enemy Insider, which should be completed. This week's been a little crazy, but this week should be completed hopefully by tonight. But if you want to go take a gander at it, it's got a lot of Mizzou stuff in there, just kind of where they're at as a team. I think this game, as far as narratives are concerned, for Pitman and this staff and these players, is huge. For fans, it's huge. Do I think Arkansas, do they win this game? Do I think they make it competitive? Whatever. Again, that's going to be something we talk about at the tail end of this show. But again, Patreon supporters, you guys have access to all that early insider stuff. Again, I'll fill out my portion of it later on today, hopefully. If not, maybe early tomorrow if I can help it. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results, baby. Free estimates. Give them a call, 501-244-3667. Again, that number is 501-244-3667. 501, don't let it scare you off. They also operate Northeast Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. A lot of the state, not all the state. As long as you've got a garage door, they can help you out. So give them a call. Check out the link provided for you down below. Okay. Where are we at here? Yeah, like and share and subscribe, all that cool stuff. But hanging 75 on anyone is insane. Absolutely. And that's, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. It is. It's great. It's unreal. But these guys were – I know we don't pay much attention to KenPom. Man, they're like 6 spots maybe, I think, back from being the worst team on KenPom. Everyone is just taking turns on these guys. Everyone is beating the living shit out of these guys. Let me be a little more specific. They're getting destroyed. So, yeah, it's big. It's great. I should say it's big. It's good for morality, right? And in the locker room, you certainly, if you're a Razorback, you feel pretty damn good about that game. But again, I would take it with a grain of salt moving forward. I don't think it's what some people, anyone you score 50-plus points on, that's a big deal. It's good. It's a great accomplishment. Those guys were just, they were ass nasty. I said it. They're ass nasty. They're not good. They're a really, really, really bad team. In fact, they might be one of the worst teams Arkansas has played in the 2000s, man. I don't know. They're down there. And before anybody asks, yes, I saw the Aussie Mav video. I don't know why. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. I listened to it. If you guys haven't heard it, he posted it this morning at 8:49 talking about just don't give any money at all to the U of A. Yeah, because that'll help things. Don't give. I'm assuming he's talking about the NIL too. Yeah, that'll get you out of the hole. That'll do it. I've said before, fans should speak with their wallets. Absolutely, and I meant money that directly goes to the U of A. But if you're talking about NIL, and maybe I missed that part if he said that, where he said, well, yeah, NIL we're fine with. Let's keep giving money there. I don't remember him saying that. If he had said that, then I understand the rest of it, not wanting to give the U of A your money. But however, if he's also including NIL, that's one of the dumbest damn things I've ever heard. You're not going to get better by not funding NIL, period. Let's do that. Let's do that and see where this program is, because that'll totally work. I get being disgruntled, and we're still living in as far as inflation, it's still way too expensive to buy groceries or to just go to Taco Bell. My God, I got 4 items off the menu from Taco Bell, and it was like $17. As someone who used to work there, a long time ago, those 4 items would have cost me about $6. It's more than double. And I get it. Inflation has always been a thing. The math says it's going to gradually go up over the years, but it got worse over the last 4 years. But hopefully that gets better moving forward. Inflation will still always be a thing, though, by the way. Don't think it's just going to vanish overnight. But I get it. But to just not do anything with the U of A financially, man, I mean, just imagine if the boosters agreed with him. I don't know where you'd be as a program. I really don't. I would say turn off the TV. Fine. If you don't want to watch them, don't watch them. Speak with your wallet. I don't have a problem with that. I've said that before. It's the ultimate form of democracy, is voting with your dollars. And he's not wrong in that. But again, if he's talking about NIL, if he's including NIL into that, and maybe even some of the other stuff, you got to have funding. You're not going to attract a big time coach when you've got a fan on Twitter. If let's assume everyone agrees with him, let's say the vast majority of fans on Twitter, which they very well might, I don't know. Maybe if it was someone else saying it, not Ozzie, maybe they would be on board with it. But imagine you're a coach next year, and let's say Pitman goes 4-8, like everyone thinks he's going to do next year, and you fire him. Oh wow, they've pulled their funding, and seems like their fans agree on social media. Yeah, that's a hot spot. That's a destination I want to go coach at. That's crazy to me. Imagine if you're a prospect or a recruit hearing this. That's kind of wild. Again, if he's including NIL. So, I don't know. Guys, you need money. You need funding. I don't know how you feel about Ozzie. I just thought that was crazy. We do have a initiative here. YouTube really wants me to do this thing called goals. And the timer on it is not correct. I don't know if we're even going to abide by it. It's fun. We've done it before. But we will do XP spends following the show in Discord. I'm going to knock that number down to like 3 super chats. It's not going to be 10. I didn't mean to do that. If we get 3 super chats, we'll do a post game. We'll do not post game. We'll do a post live show XP will spin. How about that? Cameron Gray says, "Come on, Ty, do better. Can't miss the post game on a game where people most likely fell asleep at halftime." You're not wrong. John Haas says Ozzie is an expletive. Yeah, I mean, Ozzie is worse than... He gets brought up here. He's once or twice. Trey Biddy, I heard him mention him the other day. He's just infamous. And again, I'm not saying he doesn't have a point about voting with your wallet. You do. That is the ultimate form of voting. It's the best form of voting. It's far more effective than giving the government votes and all this power. Voting with your dollars is the ultimate power. I mean, look what's happening in Hollywood and all this people. There's a certain narrative that people don't like. They don't want to watch it. And guess what? You're starting to see certain initiatives in these companies get rolled back. People they're speaking. They're speaking on Twitter, but they're also speaking with their wallets as well. I follow Kim Pom and BPR in basketball, says Angel. Yeah. I fully believe you would see big money donors come out of the woodwork for a hire like Rhett Lashley. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. You can't blame where NIL's at currently. You can't blame that on just fans. That's absolutely a reflection. That's absolutely a reflection of the lack of excitement for the head coach. That's where a lot of this comes from. Hit that dislike button. Hit that like if you dislike Mizzou. Okay, I read that wrong. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And listen, I don't really pay much attention to what anyone. Twitter to me is it is what it is. I've given up on Twitter the last 4 or 5 years. I rarely post there. I just don't. I'm more of a watcher on Twitter, I guess. I don't know. Listen to Sam. We need to move on. Wait, what? I will be watching the Hogs until I die, no matter who is coaching. I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, sure, that's great. You should support your Razorbacks, right? All right, the poll. I mean, I say support. It's definitely a good thing if you can watch them even when you don't like the product. Is what I'm saying. I mean, those are the ultimate fans, and you can't take anything away from those people. That's great. I do it because I have to. I'm not going to lie to you. There have been times over the last several years where if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, of course I wasn't during the Bielema era, or maybe was I? God, I think I was. I think I was kind of slowly making content in the Bielema era, but I wasn't like watching every game religiously when they were getting their asses whooped. I mean, you want to turn it off. I get it. Trey called Ozzie a turd. That's oh man, that's pretty good. All right. Kerper says we need the wheel. So is that our one super chat? So we need 2 more, and I'll do. Oh no, we need 1 more. Cameron Gray had a $5 super chat. Got to do better. Not doing a post. Yeah, because I read that. That's right. Okay. I mean, I read his first. I don't know if it was a super chat, but I did read it. Sam asked us to move on from calling for his job. Well, I think he was talking to the media. And he said to the media that they were making all this money. I mean, sure, there's clicks involved with that. And there's people that are going to read those articles. And there's people that are going to agree with that. And confirmation bias is a hell of a drug. It's a good dopamine hit. But, fans are not going to move on. And I definitely wouldn't tell fans to move on with their criticisms. I think that's incorrect. If you are not liking what you're seeing, you have every right to take to Twitter. Now, another thing that's been happening lately, which is strange, is the fact that he is blocking people left and right on Twitter. He's blocking people left and right on Twitter. And I'm seeing people come out of the woodwork and they're like, I didn't even mention this guy and he's blocking me. As far as I know, he hasn't blocked me on either on the platform. I don't think I've definitely been critical of him. And I've definitely said things on Twitter over the years like, what's going on? But I don't know. We've seen him do this before where he gets in a blocking spree and then he just leaves Twitter altogether. So, Matt, what's going on, man? My neighbor, this is Bot Magnet. He says, my neighbor had hip surgery and he has, let's see, and he was never the same. I don't know how the hell he can be healthy enough to kick some kids' asses. I don't know. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I have no idea. He says he's going to be fine. He's going to be up and at him. I think he said even after the surgery. That's great, man. If he is, God bless him. We want him to be healthy, not just for our own selfish needs, but for his sake. You could tell the guy is in pain, and I hate that for him, dude. I hate that for Pitman, that he has to. I mean, you see him watch him in the post games. He's constantly having to move because he's not comfortable, and that's got to be a little bit embarrassing because he knows everyone knows about his hip, and it's got to hurt like hell, man. I'm gonna have some sympathy for someone going through that. We've all had some stuff, painful stuff, and it sucks to be in constant pain like that. I feel for him. When you see him limping off the bus, God dang, man. I don't wish, even if he loses against Missouri, and which is very possible, I don't want the guy going through pain. I'm not, this is, at the end of the day, it's just a game. I wouldn't wish that on some of you, some of the people who've said some of the most heinous shit to me on YouTube. It's kind of sad because my wife has read some of that stuff, and it's been a while, but she doesn't read comments anymore. Fortunately, lately, since I've been doing live shows more often, I rarely get those comments. But used to, it was pretty heinous. That sucked. And I wouldn't wish that on those people. As heinous as some of those comments were, whether it's about my weight or, I don't know, whatever, my hair. I remember that was a big thing in the early days. Someone had to say something about my hair, whatever. Some of it was actually pretty funny, not going to lie. What? Okay, Boogie Flan for 3 says Sleazy Sam. What about him blocking you makes him sleazy, though? He doesn't want to read the negative content. It's his right to do it, I guess. I don't condone it. I mean, I wouldn't think you would want to block any of your fans, but then I say fans, Arkansas fans. I don't think that makes him sleazy. I just think it makes him not want to read that shit. And I get it, man. I blocked on my personal account, I don't know how many. I mean, I've had that account for over a decade. I'm sure I've got a few blocks. Anyways. Hip surgery is not a horrible surgery, says Feral Hogman. I'm a surgery nurse. He can recover. He may limp around for a little while, but he can recover. Well, there you go. All right, let's get into the topics. The first thing, and this was going to be it's not that it was going to be a topic. I'm adding it even though it's not on the list here on your screen. Someone tweeted at me, and I shared this in Discord, and this went over the heads of a couple of people. But I can't play the video because I'm not messing around. YouTube has actually written me a check last month, and I don't want to get on their bad side. I don't want to get a copyright. Sometimes you get away with it. It's weird how it works, but here's the tweet. This is from Jonathan J. on Twitter. Now, if you watch the video, it's effortless by T. Will. He knows exactly where he's going with the ball. T. Wilson barely touched the ball and threw a dime, unbiased brim onto something. And, of course, he's referring to Brim talking about Green's – what all he said about Green, his criticisms of Green, which, by the way, are all valid. And the problem I have with this comparison, if you didn't pick up on that, and I'm a little surprised, John, John Haas, this is surprising that you're not picking up on this. Come on, man, you know ball. If you watch that video, first off, I think it wasn't even a second he got rid of that ball. That's great. What are the things that stand out about that team? How many draft picks are on that roster on offense? Not on the defense, on offense. Who is he throwing the ball to? How many years had Tyler Wilson been in this system At least, 2 going into that year, right? Because the year before, they went on the road against Auburn. Mallett got knocked out of that game. Wilson stepped in and did a wonderful job. Don't know if – I'm not going to sit here and compare quarterbacks in those scenarios. The point being, Tyler Wilson had been in this offense the previous season. And if I remember right, that was his redshirt sophomore year. If I might be remembering that incorrectly. I might be getting the years mixed up. Remember, Mallett came in 2008, but he had to sit the year out because back then, I'm not even sure senior grad transfers were eligible that year. I don't remember if that was a couple years later or when that was, but Mallett had to sit that year out. And of course, you saw Casey Dick. I think Nathan Dick got a chance to play that year. And then Mallett steps onto the field, and wow, what a difference, right? Although Mallett knew the offense because he had been there the season before, even though he had to basically take a red shirt after transferring here from Michigan. Come on, Jonathan J. This is not a good comparison. He knows where he's going with the ball. He knows the offense, and he's throwing to how many? Weren't there 3? Weren't all those receivers drafted? Even Greg after his injury, weren't those guys all like 4th round picks? You can't. This is why, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up now, I have had some stuff tweeted at me over the years I haven't talked about. The only reason why I bring that one up, and by the way, Jonathan, I love your music taste, by the way. I love the Beatles. Eleanor Rigsby, I mean, come on, man. Revolution, great songs. I love the Beatles. Love your music, your taste in music. And this is not a shot at you. I get it. I've had this one thrown at me before. Not that specific play, but comparing certain plays from like Brandon Allen's senior season to Ryan Mallett's last year here, Tyler Wilson, Clint Sterner, like throwing, see the comparisons here? And this isn't me saying Green is as good or better than all those guys. I'm simply saying that comparison is come on. The offensive line, and if you watch that video, no one is in Wilson's space. Now you could say, well, yeah, because he knew where he was going with the ball. I've seen time and time again, right after Green gets the ball in his hands from the snap, he's got a linebacker that wasn't picked up in his face, a defensive end in his face, a guard getting blown up into the play. Not that that's happened a ton this year, but it's just never good to compare anything from those years, especially when you're talking about a quarterback who had a little bit of time in that offense to grow, to know it, to understand it, to have that, to be in sync with that offense the way Tyler Wilson was. Tyler Wilson was fantastic. Pure just hitting his guys in stride. I mean, constantly, right? Finding open receivers, getting rid of the ball pretty quickly. Very, very good quarterback in that system, and he worked out really well. My only argument would be, again, it's multiple years with better skill position players, better offensive line, better protection. Although I seem to remember a part of that year him being under pressure a lot, but I don't remember that entire season off the top of my head. Maybe he was sacked 60 times that year, and I don't remember. But I seem to remember that offense all being in sync most of that year, and it was pretty incredible to watch. That's not been the case this year, and yes, Green has been a part of that problem. So that's what I'm surprised some people didn't understand that comparison. It's not a good comparison. I got blocked by Sam, but I kind of deserved it. All right, so we're going to do is that 3 super chats? Oh, okay, I see what it's doing. It's not registering them because the minimum is the $4.99. I get it now. Okay, so we'll do spins after the chat. We'll do Discord spins. Don't let me forget. Are we getting hit with an I mean, if someone was yelling at you at a red light, wouldn't you roll your window up? Sam isn't obligated to list on X. That's fair. That's fair. I'd heard a rumor that X was going to get rid of blocks, though. Wasn't Elon going to alter blocks somehow? I don't know. That's a dumb decision if he's doing that, because if you're getting just harassed by someone constantly, you've got to have a function to block them. And believe me, I have been. I've had threats of physical harm towards me multiple times by people who live in this state. Don't know that I want them following me. Tyler was like 4 or 5 inches shorter than TG, shorter arms, shorter, quicker action. Obviously, Tyler knew the offense better as well. He did. He knew that offense like the back of his hand. It's really fun to listen to him talk about that offense. Go listen to him talk about it if you could find it. I'm sure there's a clip on Twitter when he was talking to the Morning Rush guys about that offense. Joe Cool says Wilson is one of the toughest dudes to wear a Razorback uniform. Dog, absolutely. That game against Auburn where he came in, I remember thinking, oh, God, this is going to be bad because we didn't know what to expect out of T-Dub. And he killed it. Auburn was on their heels that entire game. What a ball game, man. He was such a good quarterback. Let's see. You would still be able to mute, not block. Okay. I would still probably want to block them. I wouldn't want them seeing everything I'm posting at that point, but whatever. Ty's not getting rid of blocks. The change is that people you block. Oh, okay. You block can still view your post. All right. Well, you guys know a lot more about Elon than I do. I didn't know that. Elon would allow people you blocked to still something your post. Okay. So we're blocked. We can see what they post, but they can't interact with them. Damn, y'all all are up to date on this stuff with X. Curtis Johnson, didn't someone burn his car down over a loss? No, that was okay. That's incorrect. Wrong quarterback and wrong reason. That was Brandon Allen, and it was not because he lost a game. It turns out there was someone. I found the article a year or so ago. I'd forgotten about it, but no, it wasn't because of a loss. It was just someone running around being stupid. Apparently, there were multiple cars like his that were burned. I didn't deserve getting blocked. All I said was his purpose wasn't to win a championship. I mean, it's his right to block whoever he wants, like Steve said. But it is, I don't know, man. It just, you're the head coach of Arkansas. Like, you maybe keep your Twitter, but just don't go on it. I don't know. I don't know why he would. I don't know. Brooks Ellis said they kicked out former Razorbacks from practice. What's up with that? Well, they kicked everybody out. Media wasn't allowed there either. So I don't know if that was with the media, like they just wanted to close it all off. I don't think that was a shot at former players. I could be wrong. I don't know. Sam was very much concerned about things slipping out of practice. And former players have friends on other teams who maybe have acquaintances on other teams or family members or whatever. I get it. He blocks better than any O-line he's had in the last five. I love that. That's too funny. All right. So anyways, the final point I'm making, love your music, Jonathan J., but and you can make any other criticism of Green, and I'll agree with you. He's got a lot. There are some things they have they got to get ironed out, especially if Malachi transfers out. Okay. What are we starting off with? What do we got here? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh, yeah, this, by the way, tomorrow we are doing the post game for Illinois. I don't know how many of you I know it's Thanksgiving. You're probably going to be hanging out with friends and family or whatever, but we will do the post game after Illinois. We're doing Thanksgiving somehow. I don't know how we're going to do this. We're doing our Thanksgiving dinner on Saturday. Unfortunately, they're going to start it like right at Arkansas's kickoff. So I don't know how I'm going to get all this. The post game is still scheduled for Saturday. I just don't know. It might be delayed. You guys know I like to be live at least 5 minutes after the game. I'm not sure how we're going to do Saturday, but we're going to make it work one way or another. So just a heads up on that. All right. Where am I at? I went too far up on my screen. Here we go. All right. Arkansas lands a big kicker. Scott Starzyk was formerly committed to Iowa before decommitting on Monday. He replaces former commit Evan Knoll, who flipped to Florida back on November 11th. Cole's professional camps list Starzyk as a 5-star and the number one kicker in the nation for the 2025 class. Both kickers on Arkansas's roster this year that have kicked field goals are out of eligibility, as we've mentioned here on this show before. This could be absolutely immediate help for Arkansas at that. Obviously, for a kicker, going to need somebody. I said in Discord, I said in Patreon, I don't really follow up on kickers much. I really don't. For years, the kicker was literally just offered an opportunity to walk on. In fact, I don't know how many kickers did Houston Nutt give scholarships to. Not many. I don't think Bobby Petrino did either. I could be wrong about that. I know Tejada there in the later part of Houston Nutt's time there. I think Tejada was given a scholarship, and then he ultimately, didn't he lose out to a walk-on? God, that's been so long ago. But it's listen, it is the most difficult position to rank. It is the most difficult position to nail down because you don't know how well they're going to perform in front of 65, 75,000 people. Guys, kicking is like 80%, mental, the ability to block shit out. That's what being a kicker is all about, man. There's a reason why these coaches use timeouts to freeze kickers, or why they want everyone to scream in the crowd if you're the home team and the away kicker's on the field to kick a field goal. It is a mental job. They're all mental, I get it, but maybe none more so than the quarterback and the kicker. And it is so difficult. I mean, Arkansas's had, quote-unquote, top 5, top 3 kickers before, and they didn't do anything here. But you could also say the same thing about multiple other positions, right? You had a top 5 corner in Winston all those years ago, and the guy barely saw the field, right? I mean, Phylon was a 5-star, I think, on one recruiting site. He was good. He was pretty good. Would you say he lived up to 5-star status? He was really good, but he wasn't. No. I mean, a lot of people would say, nah, but he was drafted and he played a little bit in the league. I'm trying to think who else. I know I'm missing someone. I mean, my God, you've got a 5-star in your secondary now. Number 15, 5-star at Georgia, transferred here. Has he lived up to 5-star status? No. So, I mean, I get it, but the kicker position – you can go to these Coles event, like I said, and kick great, awesome, wonderful. Can you kick a 55-yarder in front of 70,000 people? Different question. It is just such a tough job to nail down. But hopefully, I think this dude is a hell of a kicker. Everything you read about him, what he did at the Coles camp, this guy's got a hell of a leg. Could be a great addition. Who knows? Maybe your next Cam Little, knock on wood. Scott Starzyk, again, he is great pickup for Arkansas, without a doubt. He's from out of the Woodlands, Texas, is where he's from. And he was committed to Iowa. Yeah, like Cole says he's the number 1 kicker in the country. Rivals has him as a 2-star. 247 has him as a 3-star. I mean, is there another site that's got that kind of disparity where you've got one site saying this is the number 1 player in that position in the country, and then another site saying, yeah, he's a 2-star? I don't know. Unless maybe another recruiting site is just behind on that player's whatever, right? Maybe they missed a camp. I don't know. But, yeah, he is the number 1 kicker in the nation from the Coles professional camps. He's the 5-star. And then again, Rivals has him the 2-star. And 247 is a 3. I'm just saying. Wide disparity. We've seen plenty of walk-ons throughout college football history be phenomenal kickers and punters and whatnot. So it's just a difficult position. That's why I will probably report their offer, but what I'm saying is I don't usually follow their every move like I do like other players on Twitter. Not that I do every player, but certain players that stand out for sure. But he does, and this is what else is said about him. He was able to kick multiple 80-yard kickoffs at the Texas Showcase in May of 2022. He had a perfect charting of field goals at the event with 11 points made out of 11 and hit multiple 69-plus yard kickoffs with over 3.8 seconds of hang time. Think about that. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. That's pretty good, man. Almost 4 seconds. His punting was also at the elite level, so maybe you have a two-way kicker here. Maybe he's gonna kick. He's gonna kick off for you. He's gonna kick your field goals. He's gonna be your punter. with a 4.78 hang time. See, so he's definitely got the tools. That's what's awesome about this. Like, you look at this guy, and the more I was reading about him when he flipped, after the flip, because Archie 56, my dad actually was I knew they had offered it. I knew that they were in the mix, but I didn't think they were going to get him from Iowa. And that was about all I knew. And then Archie 56 texts me, and he's like, hey, they just got that kicker. So, yeah, for sure he's got the tools. We'll see if he could put it all together, right, moving forward. But he is a part of the 2025 class, fully expected to sign, especially when they commit this late. Bot Magnet says Blackstock changed his name to Can't Block. Oh boy, what are we thinking on the Mizzou game? A close loss or blowout win for Missouri? Yeah, we're gonna get to that here in a minute. A kicker getting a rating from 247 is insane, says John Haas. I mean, I think they only have – how many kickers are actually rated on their site? There's not many. Let's look that up. Nope, I don't want total team calculator. Where are you at? He's also ranked on Rivals. Wait, what do we do is on 3? Does he have an on 3? Does on 3 do kickers? Because I don't even know. Scrolling. Okay. They have not added him. They haven't added him to the 247 recruiting, to the commitment page. Where is he? Where are you? Hold on. We're going to get this kid. Scott Starzyk, where are you, my friend? Scott Starzyk. Okay. 247. I don't think they have very many kickers ranked. It's like, last I saw, it was like maybe not very many. He is, yeah, so Evan Knoll was the kid you lost, right? He's the number 3 kicker to Florida. Eric Schmilt is the number 1 kicker according to 247. He's committed to Wisconsin. And so they have Scott Starzyk, but they don't have him committed anywhere on 247. But he is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th rated overall kicker with Rocco. Well, that's a hell of a kicker name. Rocco Grazinio from Eugene, Oregon. And then Rhett Armstrong committed to Baylor, who's a 2-star. So all these other cats are 3 stars. None of them are 4 stars or 5. They're all 3 or 2 or whatever. Yeah, there's not very many kickers that are ranked on 247. I think typically they rank players that go to events and do well at these events. And then maybe they also have to have a pretty good rap sheet, right? So, I don't know. It's cool. Kicking field goals is all about testicular fortitude. That is right. Okay. Tavion Wallace, decommitting soon. What's going on with Tavion Wallace? Wallace right now, I think he's still the number 125 player on 247. Number 14 linebacker, 6'1", 200, just under 220. Number 15, or he's a top 15, top 20 prospect, depending on the recruiting site, what recruiting site you follow, out of Georgia. We know Tavion visited FSU this past weekend, and here's what he had to say. He was talking to Knowles 247. This is Knowles 247 he was talking to. What really jumped out at me is how the coaches still show love, even though I'm committed to Arkansas right now, said Wallace to 247 Knowles, or Knowles 247. The coaches haven't changed since day one. When I committed, again talking about Arkansas, they gave me a week. They congratulated me, but they said they weren't going to bother me too much. After that, they said it wasn't over yet, and they're still working. So clearly FSU's trying to navigate their offers, their other offers, who they might move around. You're supposed to always have like a backup plan behind every player. And then sometimes that backup plan, you reach out to him, or you just kind of hear from maybe it's family members or whatever. And again, this isn't like the head coach. This is like this is an assistant, whoever's recruiting that area. and it's them getting into talks with either the family members or the player himself, or it's sometimes, I don't know, maybe they use proxies. But regardless, that's what happens, as I understand it, in all the years I've followed recruiting. This is kind of we're wait and see for them if there's someone else that might be as good or better that they feel better about, who might even connect better and fit their defense better, what they do scheme-wise. And so while all these pieces are moving around, I think they always knew, like, this cat is really good. We don't need to hang up on him, even though we were kind of frustrated at first. We need to hang around. They did that. It could be paying off. Again, he says it. When I committed, they gave me a week. They congratulated me, but then but they said they weren't going to bother me too much. And then after that, they said it wasn't over yet. And they're still working. With quite a few schools still trying to flip Wallace, he has, and there are multiple schools. He was clear about which program was the biggest threat to do so, and he said, "I would say here, FSU." Arkansas's 2025 class. Let's be real. It's full of. I don't know, man. There's several players who I think should be rated higher, but it is not a real strong class in terms of. Depending on who you lose in the offseason, what you do in the portal, I don't know that I see a lot of guys, and that's going to be the case with most classes, especially at a school like Arkansas, where you're not picking up 4 and 5 stars left and right. I don't know that I see anybody. I don't see a Braylon Russell, someone who's capable of coming in and breaking the doors down immediately. I'm not saying that won't happen. I just don't know that I see outside of maybe 3 players. And he was one of them. Maybe because the linebacker depth actually better than we thought. And I think, Brad Spence, Xavion Sorey, they've got plenty of guys who have they have another year of eligibility at least. I know Xavion Sorey has another year. Spence obviously has, 2 more years, I think. Is he a sophomore? I think he's a sophomore. He was a freshman last year, right? Those years fly by, man, especially when you get older. 40 happens like that. But anyways, it's not a huge loss in terms of the way we think the depth chart will look moving forward. But in terms of talent, you don't have anyone outside of the defensive tackle. You don't have anyone of this caliber on this that's committed, at least in terms of on the paper, right? Otis, the defensive tackle, rated pretty well. What is he rated? He's doing good. Otis is doing good. Kevin Otis right now he's a 3-star, but he's actually a 4-star on the 247 composite. He's considered a top 40 defensive lineman, number 13 player in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi turns out some pretty good players. And he has committable, for sure, offers on the table. So I would say the chances are, right now, I'm not saying it's for sure he's going to leave, they're very high that Arkansas loses Tavion Wallace. I would worry about Kevin Otis maybe a little bit. These guys that still, that have a pretty decent offer list, and you're lucky you got to 6 wins. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Some of you might argue we probably should have had 7 wins by now. But the point being, Arkansas's not trending as high up as maybe some people want. Maybe that's not lost on these players. I don't know. He has taken official visits. Talking about Otis, he took an official visit to USC, to Mississippi State back on June 27th. But after that, he's still committed to Arkansas. And as far as I know, he's not been offered by anybody else. But that doesn't mean no one has shown zero interest. Remember, sometimes these guys also, these schools will show plenty of interest and wait to pull the trigger until they feel like the timing's right. Maybe they lose a prospect. I'm not saying you're going to lose both these guys. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost both of them. I'll say that. I feel like Grayson Wilson's going to be a hog no matter what. Grayson Wilson I was asked about Grayson several months back. I think shortly after he committed, if I thought he would sign in December, and I think I would expect him to sign. And there's several players on this 25 class I like a lot. Cash Courtney, the 3-star tackle out of Carthage, Texas. Like him a lot based on what I heard about him around the time he committed back on June 13th. Had legit offers from Houston and Baylor. And then the one that I'm really excited about, I think should be rated higher. I don't believe is camped very much at all. That's Antonio Jordan out of Warren. 6'6". Now, I think Rival says he's like 6'4". He's somewhere between 6'4 and 6'6". Big-bodied receiver, 230 pounds. Schools reached out to him, man. Florida State, South Carolina, Tennessee, according to 247. And these were offers back in May and back in May of 23 by Tennessee. I think he's just, he's probably, if anyone's reached out, like, hey, how interested are you in my school? From what I understand, he wants to be a Hog. Wouldn't expect him to flip. And this is a cat. Give him a couple of years. This dude, I'm not saying he's Treylon Burks, right? We kind of knew from day one Treylon Burks was him. I'll just say on Antonio Jordan, I like him enough that on my next year that I advanced on EA College Football 2.5, I went out and grabbed a big-bodied receiver. And then I renamed him Antonio Jordan. I gave him Antonio Jordan's his measurables and everything. I like this dude a lot. So I'm thinking he's someone who probably would, if he was in more events, if maybe that's what's going on with him. He's a multi-sport guy, right? Competes at track and field, played basketball. As a junior, earned Arkansas Activities Association 4A All-State recognition. 2022, finished breakout sophomore season with 40-plus catches, 1,000 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns, 24 yards per reception. This dude's going to be good. And he's out of Warren. What more do you need to know? He's out of Warren. I'm sold. He's a lumberjack. He's from Warren. Throw him all of the offers. All right. Prime needs to play Travis Hunter at kicker. Yeah. We have the worst recruiting class of the conference outside of Vandy, says Heartbroken Hog. Yeah, 25 class is not great, guys. It's just not. I don't know how else to say it. They're currently right now, I think they are. Yeah, they're either, if they're not fifth, they might be 14th in the SEC. I don't know, but losing Tavion Wallace would be a huge hit if you're someone who really keeps up with rankings. In terms of depth chart next year, assuming you could keep your linebackers, I know Sam wants to keep those guys. You're in pretty good position. Like this isn't a killer as far as depth at the position unless you lose guys. But for the future of the position, and we all know that that's up in the air anyways because thanks to that damn portal. Damn you, portal. We hate and love you at the same time. There are some guys in this class that I wonder, who's the there's another kid I was told to not sleep on. He's not pulling out. Anyways, there's some names here I think could help out. Could Kevin Otis come in and be a starter? No, I wouldn't say Kevin Otis would be a starter. Would he be a depth chart guy? Maybe. Again, it all depends on what they do in the portal. Anyways, we've always had a problem getting 4 and 5 stars, and guys always got deranked when we got them. But is it getting worse now? This is probably going to be Sam. So far, this is going to be one of his worst classes. However, the 26 class, guys, is coming along. 26 class is coming along. 7 commits. I expect I think Tay Lockett's going to get a bump eventually upwards. I don't know about Javion Gilmore, quarterback out of South Carolina, 6'5", 195. I don't know about him just yet. We know Colton Yarbrough right now is the big dog. Going to have to hang on to him, man. Going to have to hang on to Colton Yarbrough. Cannot let that guy slip. 6'5", 220. The 26 class is off to a great start. But we've got, again, it's a long ways to go. 7 commits. But they're hustling on that 26 class. You got to appreciate it. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Take the poll. What's more likely to happen? Hogs beat Illinois by double digits. 63% of you say that. Hogs beating Mizzou. 37% of you say Hogs are going to beat Mizzou. All right. Next up on the chopping block here, what do we got? Oh, let me finish this, though. Talking about Tavion Wallace decommitting. Are more players expected to decommit? That was actually the other thing I was going to say. And I already kind of hinted on it a little bit. I've not heard from anybody that they expect any decommits. But this kind of ties in with that Mizzou game to a degree. How big of an impact? Because, listen, by the time you play your bowl game, like this is already kind of a done deal by that point, right? Depending on what bowl game and what the date is. When is early signing period, actually? It's usually that second week, right? College. Someone's going to. Early signing day. December 4th. Whoa. Okay. Prospective student athletes signing 2024. Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah. I don't know, man. The Mizzou game could have a pretty big impact on whether or not you lose any commits. There's also the what shape is the NIL in and all that stuff does matter. But if it is true, and this kind of ties into what Sam said also about there not being any more NIL money, him coming out and publicly saying that, does that have an impact on recruiting? Would it shock me that they had more decommits? As I said earlier, no. Wouldn't shock me at all. Wouldn't shock anybody. And you could probably say that at just about any school across the country. You just wonder, Sam has done usually a pretty good job when he gets a class put together. He doesn't usually see some kind of exodus in terms of recruits. I'm not talking about roster, guys on roster and hitting the portal. Recruits, we don't usually see an exodus that I can think of off the top of my head. Again, if I am incorrect, please tell me. Has he had decommitments? Yes, but I'm talking about this late in the year, the final week of November, coming up on early signing period. Now, the other side of this is maybe they don't decommit. They just simply sign elsewhere on signing day, or they make their decision on signing day. They say they're opened up, right? And then they make their decision on signing day. Those are the things to look out for. So that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, let's get into the let's talk about these last two things here. There's a little bit to say here about Arkansas and Illinois. Of course, we have the Ivicic brothers going to be going at it tomorrow. That'll be fascinating. The Illinois brother has done really well. This guy's averaging like 16 points, 9 boards, 58% overall shooting. Not bad. 3 p.m. on Thursday on CBS. Both teams will be coming off blowout wins. Both teams coming off of blowout wins. Illinois have won their last 2 games by a combined 105 points. Arkansas assistant Chin Coleman could be the key to beating Illinois. He said when he was talking to the media, "You may not believe this, but I worked for Brad Underwood for 4 years, so I kind of know all of his tricks." Is that going to be enough to tip the scales? John Hawes DMs me and he says, "You got to rewatch what Sam said." He said he's not worried about the portal. He didn't say we didn't have money. No, John. He was asked if they had any. The way it was worded was that they don't have new money coming into NIL. The way it was worded, the way I heard it, maybe he did say it stupidly. I don't know. But the way it was worded to me was that they don't have any new money. Now, maybe that's been clarified. I don't know. But, yeah, and he talked about combining what they have existing with NIL money to the revenue shares. Anyways, Illinois, Will Riley, freshman. This dude's a star. 6'8", 180 pounds, number 7. He's a forward. This dude almost averaging double-doubles between points and rebounds. He's just north of 5 boards per game, 2 assists. He's shooting about 51% from the floor. Again, 17 points a game. Keep an eye on Will Riley. Again, Ivicic, the twin brother. This kid, he's closer to averaging double-doubles. 15.5 points per game, almost 9 rebounds per game, 1.2 assists, 58% shooter. And then they have this cat. This dude's last name's been pronounced like 3 different ways. I think it's Kasparis Yochonis. It's spelled Jakonis. Ucionis, but I think it's pronounced Yachonis. Sounds like a slur. I don't know. Yachonis, 12 points, 6 boards, 6 assists per game. 6 assists per game. He's a freshman. 48% shooter. This guy could play. He looks like a pretty good two-way player. Really, really sound guy on both ends of the floor. Again, you're talking about freshmen and sophomores here. Will Riley, a freshman. Avicic's a sophomore, 7'1", 230 pounds. They've got size, right? And then we're talking about this Yachonis, who's a freshman, 6'6" guard, 200 pounds. He's distributing the ball really well. 6 assists per game. What are they at? 5? Are they 5-1? I think they're 5-1. I had that up and I already forgot. It's either 5-1 or 5-1. No. Hold on. That's Arkansas. There we go. Yeah, they're 5-1. Their only loss was to Alabama in a game that Sears was limited in. Sears had no points in that game. He did register 21 minutes, but he was 0 for 5, 0 for 4 outside, 0 for 5 from the floor with just a board, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, no points. But he was limited in that game. Did he not get hurt? Is that what happened? I feel like he got banged up. I didn't watch the game. I watched part of the game and did not watch the whole game. But Alabama did win that game 100 to 87. So Illinois was able to kind of limit what Alabama does, and Alabama still was able to score 100 points. It's pretty phenomenal. Sam is not building bridges with the fan base when he or his social media team continues to block fans and former players. Like I said, I don't condone it. I don't think he should be doing that. I can't get a bead on our team yet. Hard to see where we are going to go. Lots of potential for winning or falling apart. Seems both likely. Talking about basketball. You're not, yeah. I mean, based on the way Arkansas's played this year. So, in the KenPom, Illinois is ranked 20th on KenPom, by the way. 20th overall. Arkansas, I think, close to 40th, somewhere in there. Basketball players had a BB players. Oh, did you mean Brett Bielema? Brett Bielema players had a chance to gain some confidence and maybe find. Oh, you're talking about basketball. Okay. Basketball players had a chance to gain some confidence and maybe find their shooting rhythm in the last game. Looking forward to seeing how it impacts the Illinois game. Yeah. No, I agree. So Illinois is going to be a tough test, man. I mean, this is not going to be a game where I think you just – I don't know, man. I don't think this is going to be a game where you lead from the beginning and never look back. They've got size. They are a little younger, certain spots on the floor. Again, Will Riley playing lights out for them. Avicic is playing really well for them. Both those guys are averaging around 25 minutes a game. The kid with the last name, who I'm probably, again, as always, butchering, Yachonis, he's getting about 30 minutes a game. I mean, they've got some playmakers. However, they're not an elite three-point shooting team. They're shooting about 33%. They're 70% from the free throw line. They're shooting 44% from the field. That's not bad, but they are turning the ball over 11 times a game. But they are averaging close to 7 steals, 15 assists. That's a really good number. And, oh, by the way, they rebound the hell out of the ball. 50 rebounds a game. And they're putting up great numbers. I would argue, they did do that against Alabama. They put up some good numbers against Alabama. They didn't really get stopped. And they're not a bad assist per game team. I mean, that's 126 in the country is it's better than in the middle. And giving up just 58 points a game, Arkansas is right around that same number. But yeah, these guys, number one rebounding team in the country at 50 boards a game. This has been an area of concern for Arkansas. And then as far as points per game, way too early in the season to look at these numbers and go, oh, wow, these are Final Four teams, right? We're not doing that. But that's still pretty damn good. 16th overall points per game, and that's after playing a really good Alabama basketball team. So, how many of you guys, do you think, tell me in the chat, you can tell me in the comment section, does Arkansas get the win here? Does Arkansas get the win against Illinois? I've gone back and forth on this one. This is based on the way Arkansas has played outside of their game against, Maryland Eastern Shore against the Hawks. They've been kind of a misnomer on offense. They struggle. We see spurt ability with this team. Remember, Muss talked about that with his team a couple of years ago. This team has that. They've got the ability to score. We're still kind of waiting on John L. a little bit. And again, we said we're going to talk a little bit about this Maryland Eastern Shore game. Let's look at it this way. I asked you guys on Twitter. A couple of people responded. Who would you give the gold chain to? And I think everyone agreed that it probably should have gone to the leading scorer, Carter Knox. And I don't have a problem with that. This guy got 21 points. Listen to what Carter Knox did. 21 points, 0 turnovers, just 2 fouls, a block, an assist, 6 boards, 5 defensive, 1 offensive. He was 2 for 2 at the free throw line. 3 of 8, a little high. I'd like that. I don't know. I don't have a problem with 3 of 8. Sometimes it is true. Shooters can shoot their way out of their problems, and that's kind of what he did here. 8 of 14 overall shooting is not half bad. That's pretty good, actually. 3 of 8 outside, 5 misses outside, along with the 6 boards, the 0 turnovers, the block, the assist, the steal. He didn't have a steal. I'm sorry. He had the assist with a block. And then you add the 21 points, and then you add the amount of time that he did it. This is not – if you would have told me this at the beginning and not said how many minutes, and you asked me how many minutes do you think he played, I would have said 35, 30, 32, 34 minutes. 24 minutes. Those are some productive minutes, man. And you could say the same thing about Billy Richmond, who got 3 fewer minutes, but he scored 7 less points, but he had 9 boards and assist with just 1 turnover. Arkansas turned the ball over just 4 times against Maryland Eastern Shore. I'm pretty sure that's the fewest that turnovers that they've seen against an opponent. Meanwhile, they had 19. And all 4 of those turnovers were off steals for Maryland Eastern Shore. And that's still not even that. You'd like to not see that, but that's not a big deal. It's not a problem. 5 blocks for Arkansas. I would have thought they would have had like 10 against these guys, but 5 is still a good number. 9 steals, 23 assists. 23 assists to 4 turnovers. Plus, that's a big damn number, man. You're probably not going to see that again. Now, yes, does that speak to how bad those guys were? Yeah. So the question is Arkansas starting to put this thing together, or was it just that the opponent was that bad, or is it somewhere in between? I would argue it might be somewhere in between, leaning a little bit further to Maryland Eastern Shore's garbage. But, like someone said in the chat, you wonder how much this helps confidence. I think it helps confidence by quite a bit. I think it absolutely – now you feel like, okay, you got Carter Knox having an impact. You've got Billy Richmond, who continues to not just be a ball of energy. He's going to get you productive minutes. If you put him on the floor for 10 minutes, those are going to be some pretty productive minutes. He's either going to crash the boards or he's going to get points. And by the way, 3 offensive boards for him. In this game alone, 3 offensive boards. No one else had anywhere. Everyone else was 1 or 0. And then 6 defensive rebounds. He led you in both categories, defensive and offensive boards. 49 rebounds, plus 19 in the rebound. You just blew these guys away in every single metric. 44% shooting off 34 attempts. A lot of them uncontested, but still, this is the sort of stuff that you talk about building a foundation on the season where you have an outstanding performance. What we've also seen, and we've seen this before, whether it be Musselman going all the way back to Mike Anderson, hell, going all the way back to Nolan Richardson. Didn't happen as often under Nolan, but you'd have some fantastic showing, and then the next game you don't play near as well, and I hope that's not what happens here. You hope they're able to build off this game. There's not really anybody where I'm like, God dang, you were terrible. You had, 7 guys in double digits. DJ Wagner was 5 of 11. Not totally in love with that. 3 of 7 outside. Good Lord. He had 3 players attempt 6 3-point shots. I mean, yeah, they shot 15 of 34. And they were still good at the free throw line. I think they're, what is Arkansas, 80% on the year or 78% on the year at the free throw line? 40 of 72 overall shooting, 55%. Guys, there's plenty to build off here. There's plenty to build off. And the 4 turnovers with the 23 assists is insane. I don't care who you're playing. That's insane. That's pretty impressive. That to me is just as impressive as anything. Kind of surprised they didn't have more blocks, but that's me. I again, this one is tough. I yesterday when I wrote out when I was finishing up today's script for the show, I had Arkansas by single digits winning this game, and then today I woke up and I said, I think I'm going to go with Illinois. I think I'm going to stick with Illinois. And this is kind of what I have written out. I am taking Illinois. However, Hogs seem to be heating up. Brazil's easing his way back onto the floor, just one game. But if the Hogs win, if they battle well around the rim and push the ball and get points in the paint, Arkansas could take this one. But the youth of Illinois already look battle-hardened. Beginning of the year, I would have taken the Hogs, but Illinois has size, and they move the ball really well, can feed guys down low on Arkansas. Oakland, a 1-4 Oakland team, being really the only team that has shown that they could slow down what Illinois does. I've got Illinois winning by a very small margin, 72-68. Coin flip game, but nothing would surprise me. It's early season college hoops, really difficult to predict. Like football's been all year for the last several years. Early season college hoops is very difficult because you don't have that body of work yet. You haven't played maybe 2-3 straight really tough games, so you don't really know. And to be fair, you're not coming out of a tough game into a tough game. You're coming out of a cakewalk game that hopefully you're building momentum off of. Listen, if they use that game as a momentum builder, all the things that went well for this team, and they put it on the floor against Illinois, they could. This could be a pretty easy win for Arkansas if all these things fall into place. Brazil's getting more minutes, right? You're getting healthy with some of the bigger parts of your roster. Hogs win by 6. Judd is being positive. What is going on? Hey, guys, do me a favor. I'm still having trouble with YouTube pushing notifications. Make sure you guys share the content. I mean, I keep an eye on that stuff over the years, and yeah, I am less likely to be pushed on notifications. So it's up to you guys to just push this content wherever you can. Let's see. William Jones says, Tavion, you inspired me to shut up and give monthly. What to NIL? I think you're exactly right on that point. I think revenue share may become the dominant method for paying players in the future. We'll see. I didn't tell you to shut up, William. I don't ever want you to shut up. Don't do that. If you have a concern or a problem with this team, there is nothing wrong with taking that to social media. I don't care if Sam Pittman's blocking you or not, my man. I don't care. Feast week has been crazy. Yeah. You guys watched UConn? You guys watched UConn? They're not as good as we thought they were. I mean, I know Memphis is playing pretty good ball right now, and who beat them who eliminated Colorado? And they're both tough, close losses. And it wouldn't shock me if UConn in March gets this all figured out. They got a pretty tough schedule. DePaul, Marquette, Xavier, Providence, Georgetown, Butler, St. John's. These are all teams they got to deal with throughout the season, and they still got to play Texas. They've got Dayton coming up next. I think Dayton's really, really bad, right? Aren't they? Oh, no, they're off to a good start this year. They're 5-2. That might be a challenge. Is that at Dayton? It's still their Maui. Okay. This is their last Maui game. All right. So that's got to be tonight then, right? Yeah. I mean, I would take UConn, but The way they're playing, to be fair, these were close losses. It's not like Memphis blew them out. In fact, Memphis had a pretty big lead. I watched most of that second half, and they battled back against Memphis. I didn't get to watch the Colorado game. UConn does not look like the number 2 team in the country, though. You can't lose back-to-back games and claim you're number 2 team in the country at this point in the year. You can't do it. Can't do it. Will they be by the end of the year? That's something else entirely. I second that, William, right? Yeah. Yeah, John, listen, man, I played the clip yesterday. I know what he said. I put it all together. I know what he said. But he was asked specifically, here, I'll even pull up. John likes to argue. So do I. So we'll do this. Let me pull up the actual transcript. I have it right here in my email. If I didn't delete it. Okay. We still need to talk about Arkansas and Missouri. I did say, remember, I got Illinois winning this game, but not by a large margin. I think it's going to be a very close game one way or another. I think it was later on in his interview. Well, where is it? I have the clip, too, somewhere. I could just play that. I can't find it on my transcript. There was so much said yesterday. Well, we'll replay the video. Maybe I heard it wrong, but it certainly sounded to me like, and I wasn't the only one that thought he said that the NIL was that they had he didn't say no new NIL, but that was the way the question was presented. I'll have to go back and find that clip. We'll just share it. How about that? I'll share it in Discord. I don't mind giving the NIL. I just wish we could get some consistency on the field for our money. It is hard to do when you're in the SEC. I mean, these are all valid points, right? Okay. Mizzou. And again, I don't know tell me if you got Illinois or if you like Illinois or Arkansas in that game. Let me know in the comment section. Arkansas and Mizzou. Here's what's kind of crazy. Mizzou's scoring defense, 20th in the country, giving up just 20 points a game. Mizzou's passing defense, 18th in the country at 181 yards per game, given up. Mizzou rushing defense is ranked 47th in the country, giving up 132 yards a game. I'm actually a little bit surprised by that because the few times I got to watch them this year, their run defense looked really stingy. Mizzou third down defense is elite, 6th in the country, 28% allowed conversion on third downs. And then Mizzou on team sacks. Here's where another number that's a little bit surprising considering they are able to get a little bit of pressure, especially from their ends. Mizzou on team sacks is ranked 51st. I think they're tied with Arkansas, 2 sacks per game. Their defensive front, Mizzou's defensive ends have played a big factor for Mizzou all year. Zion Young this year for them has, I think it was 17 hurries on the season, 3 sacks. It might be 16 hurries and 3, whatever. And then Johnny Walker has been a problem. 21 hurries and 7 sacks. Now, last I saw, he was expected to play. I thought he had been dealing with some injuries earlier in the season. But I'm not seeing it. But anyways, their ends, I mean, just between those two guys alone, they're a bit of a problem. I mean, they can get pressure. They're not like Ole Miss. This is not Ole Miss's defensive front you're dealing with, but they are pretty athletic, make really good plays. Like I said, I mean, just between those two guys alone, they've got a lot of hurries racked up on the year. That's 21 and 36 hurries between just those two guys on the season. Not sure on the amount of snaps there, but pull up what they did in the last game here. They played Mississippi State, won that game 39-20. Johnny Walker did play. He just didn't have a big impact. Well, he did have a sack. Okay. He had a sack and a TFL. So the sack was the TFL. Just 1 tackle on that game. And they only had 3 TFLs on Mississippi State. So God willing, maybe they're trending down here. Maybe they're unable to get pressure on anybody. But Again, we're talking about Arkansas's offensive line. God only knows. Their secondary, they've got a player that Arkansas fans should be pretty familiar with, Drayden Norwood. He's only been targeted, according to PFF, 26 times this year, giving up 15 of those targets for 222 yards out of 513 played snaps. Also leads their team in interceptions with 2. Missouri has a total of 33 passes defended on the year. So their defense is stingy. They're not an elite takeaway. Like, this isn't a defense that's going to pick you off left and right. However, if there was a game, like, of course, we all know Green has had his struggles this year. Obviously, that's something we've all pointed out. They have forced on the year 9 fumbles, with 8 of those being recovered, to combine with their 6 picks. So they are able to get some turnovers. Again, they're not a high elite takeaway defense. They obviously, like I just mentioned, they break up a lot of passes with 33 on the year. Dalen Carnell, the safety, has 6 pass breakups alone this year. He's also got 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and a fumble recovered or a return for a touchdown. They have I think 2 defensive touchdowns on the year. I might have to double check that. They've got Dalen Carnell with a defensive touchdown, and Zion Young, who's also a really good player, but he's only got 3 sacks on the year, who's got a couple pass breakups as well. They have him down for a fumble return for a touchdown, but they only show, I don't know, but they have scored on defense, and they don't give up a lot of points on defense. Like I just mentioned, they are what do we have them on the year? They are on defense. They're giving up, it's 20 points a game. So they're, like I said, they're top 20 in the country in points allowed per game. They're stingy. They don't give up a lot of points. They can make pretty good quarterbacks look pretty average. They can make average quarterbacks look pretty bad. This is going to be a tough game for Green. You know, I've watched them a little bit this year. They can disguise coverage pretty well. They're going to be tricky. They're not keen on interceptions. Would not shock me if they get Green a couple times. Wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, it's Taylor Green. This guy, you know, has especially in this last game against Louisiana Tech, how slowly he started against Louisiana Tech. It's not all been bad for Green this year, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that. He's certainly had some great moments. He has over 3,000 yards of offense by himself. You know, he's closing in on 500 yards rushing. What is he at passing? 2,500 yards passing. You know, but we know he's missing targets. He's throwing behind guys. This is a very physical Mizzou football team. So Green's going to have his hands full. Offensive line has got to play they've got to step up, man. This has got to be a game. If they're going to play great, there can't be any excuses, right? We don't want to sit back and say, well, it was all on the offensive line, or the offensive line has a lot of blame in this, or whatever. If Taylor Green's going to make mistakes, then let him do it on his own. Don't help him, right? If you're the offensive line, that's what I'm telling my guys. Like, look, we can only handle so much. Eventually, if he's running into defenders, that's on him. If he's missing guys, if he doesn't know where to go with the ball, that's on him, not on us. We got to do our job. We got to protect him. We got to give him the best chance of success. This has got to be that game. Again, this is not an elite. This is not Texas A&M in terms of talent. This is not Ole Miss. I would even say it's not even LSU. I know they're not playing so great lately. But this is a pretty physical front six, front seven for Mizzou, and they could do a lot of things to get inside Green's head a little bit and really make him mess up. On Green's part, he's got to play clean football. And I get it. He is enemy number one for Hog fans. They want to blame him for every damn thing. We don't want to look at some of the play calling. We don't want to look at the offensive line. We don't want to talk about the drops. We want to put it all on him. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's correct. However, his criticisms are also valid. The criticisms of Green are valid. Most of them are valid. Now, for people who are saying he's not going to do any better next year, maybe not. I don't know. I would say what he has done this year, despite his mistakes and his flaws, is still not bad. I mean, again, you're talking about a guy, first year in a new offense, 3,000 yards of total offense by himself. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Third down, you were one of the best third down offenses in the country. Why? Taylon Green's ability to run out of the pocket, pick it up with his feet or with his arm. He delivered, especially the first 7-8 games of the year. He was great on third down, even on third and long. You can't take away – you could give him criticisms, but if you want to be taken serious, you have to also look at the positives too. And I'm not saying the positives outweigh the negatives. I don't know. Can he be better? I think he can. Will he? I don't know. It depends on the battle in the offseason if they have it. But that's a whole other video, whole other live stream. Let's go over to Mizzou's offense here really quick. Again, they have struggled on offense. They're 59th in the country in rushing offense, but they are still putting up close to 170 yards a game on the ground, according to ESPN. 224 yards through the air, which is only good enough for 73rd in the country. And they're 59th. They're tied at 59th in the country in points for at 29.7. And they've played their fair share of cupcakes, without a doubt. They do protect Cook. Cook is not sacked a lot. Cook has a very clean pocket most of the time. He operates with a 73% clean pocket. He's 8 touchdowns, 1 pick, almost 70% when he's got a clean pocket. Under pressure, his numbers are actually still pretty damn good. He's above 50%. Under pressure numbers, there are some really good quarterbacks who are like 45% under pressure. He's 51% with a touchdown and a pick when he's under pressure. That's only 27% of his snaps. I think Green, what did we say Green was? 38% of his snaps or something he's pressured. So when blitzed, his number, again, pretty good, 59% completion. When he's not blitzed, 65.8%. So, I mean, they keep him protected. He knows the offense. He's got weapons to throw to. Theo Weiss Jr., Luther Burden, Mookie Cooper. These are guys. Cooper hasn't had a big impact. Brett Norfleet, the tight end's got 23 grabs on the year, a couple touchdowns. But, they're not typically a heavy spread around kind of team. And they're not going to try and throw their way out of all their problems. They're going to try and run. Of course, they don't have that back they had a year ago. But this offense can move, but they're not a great. It's just not a great offense. They're struggling to finish off drives. Their third down numbers. I was looking at this a while back, and it was really bad when I looked at it. This has been a while. Has it gotten better? It has gotten. It's gotten a lot better. They're actually 15th. So when I first saw this, their number was really. It was like. I say bad. I think it was in the 30s maybe, but not as good as I thought considering all the pieces they have back, right? When you look at what they have coming back this year on offense despite not having that running back. But, they're 15th. They're 47% on third down. That's pretty good. Arkansas, we know for most of the season was really good. They have dropped down to 32. They're converting on 44% of their third down. So, Mizzou's gotten better in that department. Arkansas's gotten worse. So, I don't know. Missouri is a very strange team this year. When you look at who they've played, it's like, well, they haven't beaten anybody worth a damn. They beat Boston College when Boston College was 24th in the country. They did beat Vanderbilt, but I called it after Vanderbilt's last win. I said that would be the last win of the season. And guess what? So far, that's been true. They're now 0-2 since then. They lost to Texas A&M. Bad. Of course, this was at College Station, but they lost by 31 points, 41-10. They barely beat Auburn, right? They lost to Alabama. They got blanked 34-0. They did beat Oklahoma, but then they turn around and lose a close one on the road to South Carolina 34-30. So they haven't lost at home yet this year. They've been very good at home. I say very good. They're undefeated at home. All their losses have been on the road. Yeah, I mean, I'm of course taking Missouri. Arkansas, they've never won here. Sam Pitman is, if he's anything, he's consistent at not beating Missouri. If he's consistent at anything, it's him struggling. It's his teams maybe putting up a fight for a little bit and then letting go of the rope. This could be a 44-10 game for all I know. It should be close. On paper, everything says it should be close. Hell, the spread, I think, is 3 points. In Mizzou's favor, even the matchup predictor gives Arkansas 33% chance. Anything could happen. I mean, really, anything has a seat at the table when these two play. I don't care what other people are saying I'm over whether or not this is a rivalry. We have this conversation every time Arkansas plays Mizzou. It's funny to me that this conversation only really comes up when it's football. To me, a rivalry spans across all sports. Like, that university has a problem with that university no matter the sport, and that's not the case with Mizzou. We don't even think about them in baseball. I mean, basketball, what'd they do last year? Mizzou's mostly been what in basketball? They're not anybody's rival in this conference. So the argument that, now it's a rivalry because the fans hate each other. No. Bro, Arkansas has problems with every fan base in this conference. Arkansas fans hate everybody. That's not the qualifier for what a real rivalry is. It's got to be organic. It's got to come from, I think it comes from meaningful games. It's got to be organic, man. I'm sorry. Nothing that is welded together by the SEC front office qualifies this to be a rivalry. Will that change down the road? Maybe. It's not a rivalry, especially when Arkansas can't win this damn game. What kind of rivalry is this when you can't even win a game? Now, if Arkansas goes on the road and beats the living shit out of Missouri, that might change your attitude a little bit, because Missouri is going to look at this game a little bit differently. Arkansas fans might look at this game a little bit differently. That's where I'm at with it. I've just never, and again, this topic of conversation comes up every time we play them in football. Doesn't come up with basketball or baseball. Hell, we don't rub it in their face when we beat them in any other sport because we don't care. And whether or not that's a fault and they should care, that's a different argument. Missouri has kicked your ass in football. They own you in football. You've never won there, even though you haven't played there a lot. It's just, I don't know. Win some games. Win some meaningful games. Right? You could show me a clip of fans beating the hell out of each other in the stands. I still wouldn't say that this is a rivalry. It's so much. It's got to be more than that. Yeah, if we're going to qualify a rivalry as Arkansas fans hate you, bro, then that means everybody's a rival. I don't know. T-Will have a plan for Betty Cook. Logic be damned, we winning. That's right. Probably just me, but I can't stand Missouri or their coach. Now, that is different. Drinkowitz is annoying, but here's the thing. Everybody hates Drinkowitz. Nobody likes that guy. I mean, I think he tries to troll. I think he reminds me of one of those nerds that think they're funny when they troll, and they're just not that funny. That's what he reminds me of. He's not that funny. He couldn't – what did he say about Talon Green? Oh, wait, I have that.
I may mispronounce his name, but Talon Green.
Oh, I muted myself. Did you guys hear the Talon? Yeah, I got it. I'm muted. I got it. Did you guys hear the Talon Green comment or not? Did you guys hear that? God, I hate this delay. I know I'm muted, damn it. I know. Oh, my God. All right, we'll get this out of the way. Okay, you guys did hear the comment. All right. Yeah.
I may mispronounce his name, but Talon Green.
Talon Green, what a goofball. He's a goofball. It's not a rivalry, man. No matter how now, what do he call us? That team to the south when he got hired on at Mizzou? God, Talon. What's the poll at? What's the poll? Show the poll. What's more likely to happen? Hogs beat Illinois by double digits. Hogs beating Mizzou. I feel like if this were at home, that number might be closer, but it's 37%. No, it probably wouldn't. Who are we kidding? Sam doesn't beat these guys. 63% of you say Arkansas is going to be that would be more likely to happen. Not that you're saying that Arkansas would beat Illinois by double digits. 36% of you say Hogs beating Missouri. There you have it. Yeah. I'm over this conversation of this being a rivalry. Talk to me in like 10 years. Talk to me in 10 years. You know what? We're going to gripe about it every damn year until then, too, aren't we? We are. I fought guys from Missouri long before they made up this little battle line crap. Yeah, I don't see Missouri hitting their season average this Saturday. We hold them under 30. I think it should be a low scoring game. The over under, what is the over under at? I don't even know what it is. 54? Is that it? 54.5? Is that the over under or the total points? 54.5. I could maybe see them hitting that, but I think it's going to be under. If I'm looking at this right, if that's what they're saying, I would say it's going to be under. I would say that this is going to be under. That's just my opinion. Don't know. Missouri, these are two teams. Arkansas doesn't move the ball in offensive play. By the way, Arkansas, or I should say they don't move the ball. They actually do move the ball. What they don't do is score. They're averaging about 24 points a game in SEC play. So, yeah, I mean, where are we at here? Arkansas, 404 yards per game in SEC play, 24 points. Does Arkansas get above that number? Do they get above 400 yards? I would say under. In fact, it might be tough for them to get over 300 yards. Mizzou, this is just not a good matchup for Arkansas. It's not a good matchup for Taylor Green. It could get ugly. I don't know, man. Anything could happen. It could be close. I think the only thing that doesn't have a seat at the table would be Arkansas clocking Mizzou. That would probably be the only thing I don't believe has a seat at the table. I don't think Arkansas is going to beat the crap out of Missouri. John said somebody was hurt. Who's hurt? Oh, my goodness. Get off my screen. Cooper just had season-ending surgery. Oh, Mookie. Are you talking about Mookie Cooper? He wasn't a real big piece of their offense, if that's who you're talking about. 12 catches, 235 yards. That's not really, unless you're talking about someone else. He's the only Cooper I think they have on their roster. Well, they got some young bucks, man. They got some guys. Listen, they're set up for a while. Mizzou probably needs to do everything they can to hang on to Drinkowitz. I mean, I know they probably underperformed in their eyes because now they should win 10 games a year, right? They're going to end up, unless they lose Arkansas, they're going to end up 9-3. It's still a really good year for Missouri. That's a hell of a year. The fact that they won as many as they did last year. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everyone for stopping by. I think we kind of nailed everything down, right? Is there anything else? Are we forgetting anything? We're gonna do the post live show wheel spin. If you guys want to take part in that, we're gonna do 4 spins in Discord right after this. Let me go grab. I am like parched. I'm thirsty. It's the one thing these things do when you got to talk nonstop for an hour. It can dry you out and get you all hot and sweaty and can just zap you. You know what I mean? Ty, someone asked you earlier, oh, turkey or ham or both? Oh, God, both. Oh, man, both. With mashed potatoes. Now, listen, plenty of salt, plenty of butter, not too much salt, but plenty of salt, plenty of butter, depending on how many potatoes you're putting together here. And sour cream and heavy whipping cream. And you blend that son of a bitch until it's like the ocean of mashed potatoes. Oh, my God. Some cranberry sauce. I'm not a big stuffing guy. I never have been, and I'm not big on gravy on my mashed potatoes either. I know I'm from the South, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, well, I eat grits. I like grits. I don't eat grits. I haven't eaten them in a while, but I like them when I eat them. I am from the South, damn it. I just don't like stuffing. Stop judging me. But, God, yeah, turkey and ham. It could be any kind of ham. I don't care. Ham is just so good. I like smoked turkey, but I can eat turkey any other way. They say to not eat as much turkey because immediately after you want to sleep, but you do anyways, right? That turkey dinner. God, what else? What are we missing? Deviled eggs. I cannot believe the amount of deviled egg hatred I've seen on social media lately. It's really making me sad. How do you not like deviled eggs? unless they're just bad, unless you're eating some really bad deviled eggs, you know. Pecan pie, yeah, pumpkin pie. The sweet potato pie is okay. I would prefer pumpkin or pecan pie. Not a big green bean casserole guy. Transplanted Texan says pecan pie is better than pumpkin pie. That's tough because I really like them both. I'm just not a casserole guy. Ask my wife. If she were here, I'm just not, man. Chicken pot pie, I'm out. No bueno. No, thank you. Don't want it. I know that's not a Thanksgiving thing, but just I'm not big on mixing some of that stuff, you know. Meatloaf, I can do without meatloaf, but yeah, cobbler, blackberry, blueberry, raspberry. I've never had raspberry cobbler. Peach cobbler. God dang, y'all. I'm starving now. All right. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out Patreon if you haven't already. Listen, man, we're running out of time. You're running out of time. Autographed cards coming your way, man. If you're a Patreon supporter, you get a shot. I know at this point, a lot of you have already heard this. You're either not interested, but I think you should be. Oh, wait, that's wrong card. That's the $8 people. Here we go. Tate, right there, autographed. You have a shot at winning that card. Bobby Portis. Look at that. Gorgeous. You could frame that, put it somewhere. How can you not love Bobby Portis, man? And then, of course, one of my all-time favorites, JDN. JD Note. I don't know if I'd put him in my top 10, so I shouldn't call him an all-time favorite. But I would say of the 2020s, he's still probably my favorite of the 2020s. Anthony Black is up there. God, I wish we could have had him for another year. But for basketball, just talking basketball, JD Note probably wouldn't be in my top 10, but he wouldn't be that far out. He's definitely one of my favorites of the 2020s, if not my favorite. I mean, we're not just talking about talent, what they were recruited as. I'm talking about what they did on the floor. I mean, he was fantastic. Never mix anything with pot, says Nicole. All right. Okay. That's it. Tomorrow, post game after the Illinois game, we're also we're gonna go live for the SEC Unleashed live show, which is myself, Travis Ford, Tim Neal. Looking forward to doing that. They're always a lot of fun. Remember, guys, sharing is caring. YouTube does not like your boy. They're not pushing out. Some people are getting notifications, but I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of you are not. Or they're recommending the video a day later. It's just weird. I don't follow by their damn rules, so they're just less likely to push your content. That's just how it works. But I need you guys for that part, right? Sharing is caring. Liking and all that stuff. Interacting. Let's end this poll really quick. What's more likely to happen? 62% of you saying Arkansas beating Illinois by double digits. 37% is a pretty solid number, though, for beating Missouri. Joe Cool says Mason Jones is up there. He is for me, too. He is for me, too. And he's got the talent to back it up, and he's in the league. And, man. All right. That's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the postgame. Happy Thanksgiving, right? Try to avoid politics at the table. I tell you what you should talk about. You should talk about how awesome Tusk Talk with Ty is, how awesome his Patreon is, and how everyone at the table should subscribe if they're real Hog fans. You know, he may not have a big recruiting site. He may be a solo artist, may not have 5 people on a panel or whatever. Might just be by himself. But by God, his community's awesome. He's awesome. He does a pretty good job. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what you talk about at the table. All right? Okay. Gobble, gobble. I will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. And again, happy Thanksgiving.
No.